Hi, my name's Starsky and welcome to From the Studio on Clubbing TV. In today's episode, I'm going to be taking a look at some of the new functions you'll find in Ableton 11. For anyone who doesn't know what Ableton is, where have you been? It's the DAW or the digital audio workstation that's especially popular with DJs and dance music producers. And it's because of the way it organizes and manipulates your tracks and your clips in a way which just works really well with the way you build club tracks. We have this main clip screen here, which is called the session screen. So each of those vertical columns acts like a track on a mixing desk, and you can throw in pretty much whatever you like on any of the tracks. In this scene I've got here, I'll just play it. Each of the 5 separate drum loops that are playing there were all sampled originally at different speeds. So the kicks at about 126. We've got the CLF drums, let's have a listen to that. That was originally at 150. These claps were at 128. So you get the idea, Ableton doesn't care what speed they were originally, bring them into this and they make them the same speed as the rest of your track, which is absolutely superb for building up dance tracks really quickly. So the whole thing here is at 122 BPM, drop it down to 104. Or whack it up to 134. So it all just works, and that's the beauty of Ableton, and it's really great for trying out different arrangements in your mix. On this page we've got here, we could have a scene with just the kick and the hat. We play over there. Then we might want to bring a ride cymbal in, so we bring that in the next scene. And then bring the clap in as well. Let's just copy all these down to here. There we go. And we can rename all of the scenes so we know exactly what's happening. And as I build that arrangement there, you might be able to see on the launch pad that I'm building up my clips. But that's why you see DJs and producers and people on stage with these things, because you can just simply pick which scenes you want to play. Really simple, really easy. This is the Novation Launchpad that they designed to work with Ableton. There's the Ableton Push as well, which is much more integrated with Ableton itself and something I'm saving up for. I got a cheaper one to see if I'd use it. I do. So now I'm saving up for the Ableton version. So that's what it is. And if you're looking at getting your first DAW to start producing dance tracks, this is definitely the place to start. And if you're a student, they do great discounts as well, actually. So well worth checking out on ableton.com. So let's take a deeper look now at some of the new functions offered in the latest version, and that's Ableton 11. And first up, we'll take a look at comping. Comping simply means creating a composite recording made from lots of different takes, and the new version of Ableton does that automatically for you. So instead of having to set up different tracks and do a take 5 times, you just loop it and you sing it or you play it, whatever you're going to do, 5 times if you like, how many times you want, and then it automatically spreads that onto different lanes, and then you can pick the best bits of each. So I've done that here using a sound from an old analog synth, something that I can't MIDI up and I can't automate, so I've got to play it live. So play it live a few times and take the best bits of each take, and it's just a noise shot that's sort of flowing over the top of a beat. And here we've got 3 lanes, 3 separate takes. I've coloured them differently. So we've got a red one, we've got a green one, and we've got a blue one. And on the top we can see it goes red, blue, and green, and that's the comp take. So I wanted it to come in exactly on the second beat. I played it too late on the first one, slightly too late on the second take, and then I played it too early on the third. So I've taken the silence from the first take and the noise from the third take to get it exactly on the beat. And I wanted that sound to build again for the last bit of that section, but the first take, it was too late, the second take was right, and the third take, it was a bit early. I feel a little bit like Goldilocks here. One was too hot, one was too cold, and one was just perfect. So the second one was perfect, and that's the green one. So we can see here, I've blended between the blue and the green, that's the third, and the second takes halfway through, and I can just move that along. And it just simply changes which take I'm using. So this really, really speeds up doing things. And if we look closely in here, we can see we've got a little crossfade between the two takes so you don't get any clicks. Really, really handy. And it does this for MIDI as well as audio, which is great. So next up, we've got linked tracks. And on that little section there, you heard some drums and they were dropping out. And here they are here. I've got two loops playing. And you'll see here, just next to the names, we've got this little chain link, and that means that they're both linked. And what that does is if I change one, it changes the other. So let's go to the kick, and we'll put a longer fade, put a fade at the start as well, and we see it's happening to the hat loop at the bottom as well. And these sections in the middle I've just muted, so bring them back in. And you can see it's bringing them back in on both. So it's really good for anything where you build tracks out of a number of sounds. So drums are obvious, but others are pads and leads. I often make pads and lead sounds by using a lot of different synth sounds, and this way I can save tons of time in editing and to just trying out different things in the arrangement. Instead of having to go in and change 5 different pad sounds, do it all at once. Brilliant. We've also got some really great additions to MIDI functions. One of my favourites is the addition of chance. So if we look at this hi-hat part we've got here, really basic, really simple, but here we've got these chance or these probability sliders, and these allow us to change the probability of one of the notes actually playing. So this one here has got 0% chance. So we play that again. And each of these here that I'm putting in slightly different, they'll all have different probability of playing, which means every time you play the loop, it'll be slightly different. So hi-hats are a really nice use of this. It just gives a little bit of, I don't know, a bit of interest to a track without necessarily noticing that there's any real major changes. So that's it playing straight along with the beat. And in the intro track, this is what I did. It just gives it a little more interest. And you'll have also noticed these things here that are on the volume or on the velocity. And this is the range of velocities that each note will play in. So if we look at the first one, we've got it around sort of 90, and it'll play between 90 and 60 odd. And if we look over here on this little box there, it says velocity range, we can change it. So again, each time we play the note, it plays slightly differently. A really nice little touch. And the arpeggio sounds that I've played on the intro track also uses this. So what I've done is I've played these chords, but I've changed the probability of some of the notes playing. So this note here, for example, has got a 25% chance of playing, so it only plays about 1 in every 4 bars. And when you play an arpeggio, every time you play either 3 notes or 4 notes, it completely changes it. So we get something a bit like this. So that looped twice, and on each loop it played something slightly different, but all based around the same notes. So it actually gave it a nice sort of bubbly feel, but without being consistent all the way through. So another nice little touch. It's the sort of thing that you do on modular systems. You have the probabilities on various notes playing, which is why things can just sort of play for hours and hours and not get boring. And this is something to really explore. I've not really explored it fully here, but really great addition. And there are loads of new little additions to the effects in Ableton 11. I just haven't got time to go into all of them here, but one of my favorites is this one called the Spectral Resonator. And you've been hearing this on that intro track. If I take that off, it's just a really simple drum loop. And what I've done with that is I've made a bass line from it by playing MIDI notes in that the resonator's playing along to. It's really quite cool. Just play it without the MIDI notes for now. Another really nice touch is MPE, which is MIDI polyphonic expression support. And that means that you can do different things per key when you're playing a pad, for example. One could be pitched up, one could be pitching down. And I'll just demo that really quickly. So only the bottom one has got the pitch bend on it, and they're doing slightly different things with that tone, which means that the sound, it just sounds much fuller than a simple playing of two sounds, doesn't it? Two notes. So it's a great way of adding a lot of expression to a simple tone without having to sort of mess around with lots of different tracks. Each of these things I'm showing today actually are really great time savers for getting something that would normally take ages with the comping, and then with those link tracks, with the MIDI polyphonic expression, everything is really saving time and making things just so much simpler. So all in all, a really great update this. I mean, the comping saves tons of time, as do the link tracks, and all those little things with the probability and the chance and the randomization, the volume in the MIDI channels is really, really good fun. There's loads of stuff to look at there. And if you are just coming new to DAWs and you're coming new to using a computer to create music, Ableton is definitely one to check out. And if you're doing dance music, it's basically the one you should be using. And they've got, as I say, they've got some great student discounts as well on the website. So I hope that was of some use to somebody somewhere. And if it was, don't forget you can watch it again whenever you like on our From the Studio playlist on the Clubbing TV official YouTube channel. And if you are into music production, do check out my Starsky Carr YouTube channel as well, where I've got a lot more in-depth and technical explanations, demos and comparisons. So I'll see you in the next episode of From the Studio.